Hi, I'm Jess. Welcome to the Up Dog Yoga Mamas studio. Today we're going to do a postnatal yoga flow. This will be appropriate for anyone 6 to 8 weeks, depending on the type of labor that you had. 6 to 8 weeks, all the way up to 2 or 3 years. So if you're a beginner, you're welcome to join me on the mat. If you're experienced and getting back into that yoga practice after having a bub, you're welcome to join me on the mat. So to get started, you're going to want to have a block or two. If at home you don't have blocks, some thicker books will do, some thicker, sturdier books, and a bolster is always great. So in our postnatal practices, we like to use props as much as possible to help us get into those shapes as we get back into our bodies. If you don't have a bolster, another option is a nice thick, longer pillow. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. We'll begin our practice today in reclined butterfly with your bolster. So to get set up, bring your bolster to the back of your mat. Find yourself in a butterfly. So bottoms of feet together, knees wide, bolster pulling all the way into the tailbone, but not quite sitting on the bolster. And then just recline on back. And from here, let the arms drape down on either side of you. Let the shoulders relax away from the ears, and go ahead and shut the eyes down. And we'll just begin by coming to the breath. Noticing how the breath is moving in the body. Not asking anything of the breath, just simply feeling, hearing into that beautiful breath. And as you begin to settle further and further into this pose and onto your yoga mat, start to unattach yourself from this practice. So whether you get an uninterrupted flow or whether you have to stop and start this video a couple times because the little one needs you, it doesn't matter. Unattach from an expectation. And just embrace that you are here now, enjoying whatever the practice has to bring you today. Let's start to really ask a bit more out of our breath here. Let's start by taking 3 big rounds of breath. So inhale through the nose. Open mouth, heavy sigh it away. Let's do twice more. Inhale, expand the belly, expand the ribs, pull the breath all the way up past the shoulders into the head, and then slowly release that breath from your mouth. Once more, last time, full inhale, and open mouth. And then we'll come into some Ujjayi breath today, breathing in and out of the nose now. Slightly constricting the back of your throat so that when you exhale it sounds like a hissing, an ocean. This breath purifies on the way in and purifies on the way out. And that beautiful audible sound gives you something to listen into, to tune into. No matter what the distractions are around you now, whether you have something cooking in the oven or whether you hear a child babbling in the background, hear that sound of your breath. Let's take 2 more rounds. And then we'll roll off of our bolster to either side that works in your space. I'm rolling to the left. Rolling all the way off of the bolster, come into a fetal position and hug the knees up towards your chest, giving some space back into your lower back here. Just hang here for just 1 more round of breath. Nice. And then let's go ahead and push up. And we'll go ahead and find a tabletop position. We'll go ahead and move the bolster off of the mat. So you can push it to the back of your mat. or wherever works in the space you're practicing. So coming into a tabletop, we've got shoulders stacked over wrists and hips stacked over knees, really wide jazz hands here. So strong support through the hands so that the wrists don't get affected. And we're gonna come into some rounds of cat and cow. We'll do 5 rounds, relaxing the belly, looking forward, taking a breath in, roll the shoulders back for your cow, and then cat back. I want you to scoop the pelvis up to your lower ribs, separate the shoulder blades so that you're releasing tension through the upper back, and then tuck the chin to your chest. Moving slowly here with the breath. Inhale, find your cow, fully relax the core, open up the chest. Exhale into cat back. This time, let's think about lifting that pelvic floor up. Scoop the belly up. 3 more rounds, move with the breath. Inhale, create space. Exhale, create action through the core. Twice more. Last round, breathing into the front. Breathing out, chin to chest. Come into a neutral spine. So we're going to come into some safe core exercises as you're rebuilding that core strength here. Start in a neutral spine, and we're going to start by extending that right leg out behind you, lifting up through the right heel. My right foot is flexed. Again, slightly start with a bit of core activation here. So we're going to just slightly scoop that pelvis up to your lower ribs, elongate out of the back of your neck. Now you can hang here, or you can extend that left arm out in front, coming into pointer pose. Keep shoulders and hips in line. Lengthen through the fingers. Lengthen out through the back of your right heel. Take a breath in. Create more length. Exhale. Elbow comes into knee just as an option. Now I want you to hug the knee up towards the collarbone, separating those shoulder blades. Inhale, create length. Exhale, contract. Elbow comes into knee. Knee comes up into chest. 3 more. Breathe in. Lengthen out. Breathe out. Hug it in. Twice more. Inhale and exhale in. Last time, extend and contract. Straighten out the arm and the leg. Place the left hand down. Leave the right heel lifted. Now we're going to place the right foot over to the left side of your mat. I'm going to get a nice side body stretch here. So I want you to push that right heel down, press into the right heel of your hand, and look over the left shoulder. Getting a nice stretch here all down the right side body. Slow the breath back down. Inhale, lift that right heel up. Exhale, press the right knee back down in line with the left and rock the hips from side to side. All right, we'll bring that all onto the other side. So again, start by lifting up the left heel. Now you could be hanging here and just working on balancing and hugging that core into the center line and lengthening out of the back of your neck. Or you could extend that right arm forward. If you've got the right arm forward, that's when we're gonna hug elbow into knee. Otherwise, you're just hanging with that left leg up. Take a breath in, extend, create that length. Exhale, scoop the belly up. Press the shoulder blades away from one another and hug the elbow up into your chest. Inhale, extend. Exhale, hug it in and up. For 3, for 2, and 1. Extend. Now place the right hand down, the left heel stays lifted. Bring the ball of the left foot over to the right side of your mat. Press the ball of the foot firmly into the mat. Look over the right shoulder, all the way back to that heel. Getting that really nice lengthening stretch here. Slowing that breath down. 1 more round of breath. Come back with a lifted left heel. Place the left knee in line with the right and rock it from side to side. All right, let's come into melting heart now. Walk the hands forward. Leave the hips lifted above the knees. You're going to bring the chin or the forehead down to the mat, whichever one feels good to you. My arms are out straight. My hands are still wide, as in my fingers. My hands are shoulder width. So here we're working into the shoulder girdle, but also getting an opportunity to kind of close off, separating yourself from the distractions around.
counteracting that baby feeding, that toddler holding, as you open up space into that shoulder girdle by just simply melting the heart down to the mat. Maybe going a little bit deeper. One more round of breath. And let's walk the hands back in, come back through your tabletop. All right, using tabletop now to set up for down dog. Again, fingers are wide, point fingers pointing forward, tuck the toes if they're not already, and then lift the hips up high, pushing the chest back towards the thighs, finding your way up into your beautiful down dog here. So much like melting heart, our down dog also works to release tension through the shoulder girdle, so counteracting that kyphosis, that baby feeding, baby holding, arching of the upper back that just naturally happens in this chapter of life. So we're going to take just a few more rounds of breath here. Feel free to walk it out, walk the dog out, wag the tail, moving from right to left side. And then begin to come into stillness. So as you find your way into a still dog, I want you to push the chest further back to the thighs, lift those hips further up into the air, relax the head, relax the neck. Stay for one more round of breath. Walk the hands back to your feet, keeping the feet hip width. Come into a forward fold of ragdoll. So my feet stay hip width, toes pointing directly forward. You can grab opposite elbows, or if you're like me, you can let the arms dangle down to the mat. Head and neck, relax. Ears move away from shoulders move away from the ears. A nice bend in the knees here. So it's a passive forward fold, our first forward fold of class, nice and gentle. And we're going to start to begin to find our way up into a tall mountain. Take your time to get there. So you can walk the hands up your legs, or you can just slowly roll up. Rolling the shoulders back once you get there. Reach the arms up overhead, look up, and breathe in. Arms stretch up. Exhale, open mouth, hands to heart space. Tall mountain, inhale, stretch it up. Forward fold, exhale, hands come back down towards your feet. A little bit more of an active forward fold this time. So legs are a bit more straight. A nice micro bend in the knees though. Hips lifting up to the sky. Relax the head. Walk the hands forward, come back into that down dog. So a nice active pose, our down dog. So it can feel a little bit much, especially if you're in the early weeks of just giving birth. And if at any time this feels too much, you feel lightheaded, just come down into that tabletop. All right, this time we're going to step the feet forward. So you can take one step or a couple of steps, bringing the feet into a halfway lift now. So for a halfway lift, fingertips are on the mat or hands are even on your shins. You want the spine to be parallel with the mat below. Shoulders move away from your ears. Take a breath in. Exhale, forward fold. Tall mountain. Inhale, reach up. Hands to heart space, open mouth. Tall mountain, breathe in. Forward fold, breathe out. Halfway lift, find extension of the spine as you flatten that back. Bring the hands down, step the feet back, come into a high plank. So my shoulders are still over your wrists here. Scoop the pelvis up to the lower ribs, slightly push out through the shoulder blades. Now you can have knees lifted or knees down and heels up. Find one more breath in, really engaging the entire body here. And then as you breathe out, slightly come forward and let's low plank all the way down to the mat. Come all the way down. And then we'll find a baby cobra. Lift the head and the tops of the shoulders up off of the mat. Really roll those shoulder caps back. And then we'll find our way back into a down dog. Tuck the toes, push back towards the knees, then lift the hips up high. So we've done 2 sun A's and we're going to progress into some sun salutation B's now. Stepping forward once more into that halfway lift. Take an inhale. Forward fold as you exhale. Utkatasana, chair pose. So my feet are going to stay hip width. Sweeping the floor with the fingertips so that you know you're already in a nice squat. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Melt the shoulder blades down towards the back of your pelvis. Lengthen down through your lower back. Scoop that pelvis up just slightly so you've got that nice core contraction here. Smile the collarbones, so broaden the chest. Put the weight into your heels. Find a big inhale. Forward fold as you exhale. Halfway lift. Have the fingertips down on the mat this time. Step the left leg back, coming into a high lunge. So my left leg takes a big step back. Stay up high on the ball of the back foot. Inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. So framing the face with your biceps. Another option would be to have hands at heart space. So sometimes this can just be too much energy depending on the day. So hands at heart space is also fine. Wherever you are, find one more round of breath. Hold for the inhale. Exhale, bring hands down to frame that right foot. Step this left foot up to meet the right into that halfway lift. Think about your posture. Now step the right leg back into that high lunge. On the breath in, start to lift the chest up, lift the arms up. Remember that same option applies. Hands could be at heart space. So I want you to think about pushing this right hip flexor forward and hugging this left hip back and in. So that gives you that nice squaring off to the front and that nice contraction of core. So always building strength, always weaving those muscles back in together. Relax the shoulders. Don't create tension where you don't need it. Find one more inhale. Exhale, hands come down to frame the left foot. This back into that high plank, either leaving knees lifted or knees come down. On the exhale, slightly come forward, then lower all the way down through low plank. Full cobra this time, so the hips stay down, the feet stay down, but the whole chest lift up. Roll the shoulders back, lift up through the sternum, and down dog. Pushing back and lifting hips up high. One more round of breath. So we'll do one more sun bee. Step forward into that halfway lift, feet are hip width. Spine is long, back is flat, forward fold. Utkatasana chair pose. Just 2 rounds of slow moving breath. Hold for the inhale. Utkatasana forward fold on the exhale. Halfway lift. Step the left leg back. Come into that high lunge. Inhale, reach the arms up. Square off. Relax the shoulders down. Stay for the breath in. Exhale the hands down, framing the right foot. Step the left foot up into that halfway lift. Right leg steps back. High lunge with the left foot forward. Inhale, chest lifts up, arms lift up. Feel that circle of energy. So the shoulder blades relax down towards the back of the pelvis. And then the front line of the body creates action. So that pelvis scoops up. Energy lengthens up all the way into the fingertips. Breathe in. Exhale, hands come down. Foot steps back. Vinyasa. Slightly come forward. Lower down through low plank. Setting up for cobra. Inhale, lift the chest up. Down dog, rolling back. Let's come into a child's pose now. Bring the knees down. Widen them as wide as your mat. Hips settle back down onto your heels. And forehead rest down. Come back into your breath. Staying unattached to the practice. Just being grateful for the time that you do have on your mat. However much time that is. You rolled your mat out, you made it here, and that's what counts. All right, coming back to the tabletop, we're going to do just a little bit more action, and then we're going to do some nice relaxing poses. So starting in your tabletop, great place to set up for your down dog, because then you know your feet and your hands are the correct distance apart or close to it. Tucking the toes, lift the hips up. So you want to feel long from the pinky fingers all the way down to the pinky toes, long through the outside of the arms and the outside of the legs. That's it. All right, stepping forward with the right foot. Bring the right foot in between your hands. And then bring this left knee down to the mat. Inhale the arms up. So we're in a low lunge. If you like to have a little bit of an extra cushion, you could fold the mat over and have the left knee on top of that folded mat, or even a towel. You're going to scoop that pelvis up. So just because the back knee is down doesn't mean we're relaxed. We're still creating action. We're always weaving energy in and up. Stay for the breath in here. Exhale, crescent moon. So we're going to open up through the arms, open up through the elbows, lift up through the sternum, getting a lot of space here that chest is craving in this time of life. Even look up to the sky. And on the breath in, reach those arms up high. Exhale, bring the hands down to the mat, framing that foot. We're going to come into a revolve lunge. The left hand will stay down inside the right foot. The right arm will stretch up to the sky. So that back knee is still down, hugging that right hip in so that it's not swaying out. You're trying to get the arms stacked in line with one another. So one straight line from fingertip to wrist. Stay for one more inhale. Exhale the right hand down. Now we're going to really think about our pelvic floors here. Lifting that pelvic floor up, tuck the back toes. Inhale, lift all the way up into your high lunge. A lot of strength there. Relax the shoulders, settle into the lunge. Finding one more breath in. Exhale the hands down. Step this left foot up, halfway lift. And forward fold. Utkatasana, chair pose. Feet are staying hip width here as we honor that female body. Spine is lengthening down to the mat, heart is open. Energy between the knees without squeezing them any closer together. Breathe in, fold on the breath out. Halfway lift, hands come down, feet step back. Find your way through a vinyasa, option to just go down into a down dog. Setting up for cobra, lifting the chest up, and down dog. So we'll bring that all onto the other side. Push the chest back to the thighs, relax the head and the neck. Left side, left foot comes in between the hands, setting up for a low lunge. The right knee comes down. Inhale, reach the arms up. Creating that action here so that back knee and that front foot want to meet, but instead that energy finds its way up through the center line of the body. Lifting up through the top of your head even. Stay for one more inhale. Crescent moon, open up through those elbows. Slightly scoop that pelvis up so the lower core is activated here as you get that micro back bend and gain so much space through the heart here. All around the lungs, the diaphragm. On the breath in, straighten the arms up. Come back through low lunge. Exhale, hands down. Setting up for left arm will stay lifted. So if you find when you come into this twist that your left shoulder is dipping down and you're compromising yourself, that's when you want to find a block. So you could place a block underneath that bottom hand, giving you that little bit more lift here. And then that left hip is hugging in. That's just an option. Finding one more inhale. And exhale the left hand down. Pelvic floor. Rising up into that high lunge. Another option would be having hands at hips as you lift that back knee up off of the mat. Finding one more round of breath here. Staying for the inhale. Exhale, hands come down to frame the left foot. Step the back foot up. Halfway lift and forward fold. Chair pose, just 2 rounds of breath. Your last chair pose of this nice mini flow. Relax the shoulders, stay for the breath in and forward fold. Halfway lift. Coming into our very last vinyasa, hands come down, feet step back, low plank. Either knees are down or knees are lifted. Finding cobra. Lift up through the heart. And down dog with the breath out. Staying here for a whole round of breath. And then bringing the knees down to the mat. Nice. So we're going to come to lay onto our backs now. And we're going to set up for a half hero pose. So bringing the bolster. Bolsters are your friends or your long pillows. Really great to provide that nice restorative practice that we're all craving in motherhood. So I'll start with my right leg forward and my left leg back so you can get an idea of what's happening. So setting up just like you did with your reclined butterfly. Bolster is long like your spine, pulling into that tailbone. Left knee is bent. Doesn't matter if your toes are tucked under or toes go out. That's just sort of whatever agreement your knee has with your body. All right, from here, we're just going to recline on back, letting the arms relax down by your sides. You might want to slightly hug that tailbone or lengthen that tailbone down just so the lower back isn't getting too compressed. I'm really starting to slow that breath down now. So coming into a bit of a yin practice now. You had a nice burst of energy there for the first half of the practice. Coming back to that slow and steady breath. If you like, you can reach the arms up overhead, getting a deeper release into that shoulder girdle, that area all around the shoulder joint. If you're craving that, but arms up overhead is too much, arms could come out into a T, so that's a nice compromise, finding a T shape with the arms. We'll stay here for just 2 more rounds of breath on this side. And we'll switch legs. Use elbows and hands to push yourself back up. Extend the left leg forward. Right heel hugs back to the right hip. Maybe scoot your bolster up a little bit more and then recline on back. Letting the bolster do the work here. So the bolster is supporting you. The bolster is giving you space into your chest. Your breath is creating that calm, nurturing environment for you as you continue to fully, slowly inhale. And just as slowly and fully exhale. Same options apply on this side, those T-shaped arms or arms up overhead, whatever works for you and your shoulders. One more round of breath. And coming back up. Elbows and hands push into the mat. Try not to use too much of your core strength. Go ahead and get rid of that bolster. Lie all the way down onto your mat. Legs come back out in front. Hug the knees up into your chest. Just a quick little twist here. Drop the knees over to the right. Arms come out into a T. Look away from the knees. So knees are to the right, eyes are to the left. One more round of breath. And other side. Knees to the left, eyes to the right. Make some nice space into your lower back here. One more round of breath. Hug the knees up into your chest. Give yourself a big squeeze for making time for your yoga today and relax down into Shavasana. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever you've got, 30 seconds. Relax the breath completely, relax the body completely. Arms and legs are stretching out as far apart from one another as you're comfortable. Eyes closed or are heavy at least. Breath is easy now, belly is soft. Staying here for as long as you like. And when you're done, find your way up to your mat. Close your practice, bringing hands to heart space, sitting up tall, shoulders relaxed back, leaving hands and awareness at heart space here as together we say, Namaste.